In Korean mythology, the sun and the moon are not gods. They are children, a sister and a brother who ran from something so terrible that they climbed all the way into the sky and never came back down. This is not a fairy tale. This is a survival story. And the thing that chased them is already inside the house. They call it Harangi, the tiger, but not the kind you have seen in nature documentaries. This creature is older. It watched humanity crawl out of caves and thought, interesting. It walks on two legs when it chooses. It speaks. It wears the clothes of the people it has eaten. And when it knocks on your door at midnight, it sounds exactly like your mother. In a village tucked into the mountains of Joseon-era Korea, there lived a widow with two children. Haesun, the older sister, 13 years old, sharp-eyed, fierce. She had inherited her dead father's stubbornness and her mother's refusal to cry in front of anyone. Dalsu, the younger brother, 9, soft-hearted, afraid of the dark. He still believed his mother could fix anything. They were poor, they were hungry, they were loved, and that was their crime. Because in these mountains, love is the thing that draws predators. Every day, the mother walked over the mountain to work at a wealthy household, washing clothes until her knuckles cracked. Every evening, she walked back carrying whatever food they gave her. Rice cakes, leftover porridge, sometimes dried fish.
Lock the door. Do not open it for anyone until you hear my voice. Haesun, take care of your brother.
She kissed Dalsu's forehead. She pressed her hand against Haesun's cheek, and she walked into the mountain path as the sun began to sink. She did not know it would be the last time her children would see her face. The mountain path wound through pine forests so thick the moonlight could not reach the ground. The mother walked quickly, clutching the cloth bundle of rice cakes against her chest. Then she heard it. A voice from the darkness between the trees. "Where are you going, Ajuma, with such delicious-smelling rice cakes? Give me one, and I won't eat you." She stopped. Her hands trembled. But she thought of her children waiting, and she threw one rice cake into the darkness. Something caught it. Something with very large hands. She walked faster. The voice followed. "Another one. Just one more." She threw another. And another. The bundle grew lighter with each step, and still the voice followed. Closer now, patient, amused. When the rice cakes ran out, the voice said, "I'm still hungry. Give me your shawl." She gave it. Then her Geogori jacket. Then her chima skirt. The voice took each piece with the courtesy of a tax collector and the patience of something that knew exactly how this would end. She stumbled forward in her underclothes, the mountain air cutting into her skin like a blade, and the voice said, "I'm still hungry." There was nothing left to give. What happened next, I will not describe. The mountain heard it, the pine trees heard it, the moon looked away. When it was done, the tiger stood on two legs and looked at what remained. Then it did what Korean tigers do. It put on her clothes. It arranged her hair. It picked up the empty cloth bundle. And it began to walk. Not toward the mountain, but toward the village. Toward the cottage, toward the children. Inside the cottage, Haesun sat by the oil lamp, mending her brother's torn sock. Dalsu pressed his face against the paper window, watching the darkness.
Nuna, it's getting really late. Why isn't Mother back?
She'll come. She always comes. Stop breathing on the window. You'll tear the paper.
But Haesun's needle had stopped moving. She was listening. The mountain was too quiet. Even the crickets had stopped. Then, the knock. 3 times, the way their mother always knocked.
Children, open the door. Your mother is home.
Dalsu jumped up. Haesun grabbed his arm, because something was wrong. The voice was their mother's, the same pitch, the same warmth. But it was too perfect. like someone who had memorized a melody but did not understand the song. Almost right. And almost right is the most terrifying sound in the world.
If you're our mother, slide your hand under the door.
A pause. Then something slid beneath the wooden door. A hand. Haesun held the lamp close and gasped. The hand was covered in coarse orange fur, thick black claws where fingernails should be.
That's not our mother's hand. A mother's hands are smooth.
Oh, my dear, I was picking chestnuts all day. The burrs tore up my hands. Please open the door. It's so cold.
Silence. Then the hand withdrew. Outside, Haesun heard a strange sound, like something being rubbed, smeared, patted. Minutes passed. The voice came again.
Look again, darling.
The hand slid under once more. This time, white, smooth, covered in flour from a sack it had found by the well. In the dim lamplight, it almost looked human. Almost. This is what makes the Korean tiger the most frightening creature in all of East Asian folklore. It does not simply hunt. It learns. Haesun hesitated. She wanted to believe. Dalsu tugged at her sleeve, eyes wide. She pressed her eye to the crack in the door, and in the moonlight she saw the shape of her mother, the height, the clothes, the hair. But the eyes were yellow, not brown, not human, two amber circles that caught the moonlight like a cat's. No, like something much larger than a cat. And they were looking directly at the crack, directly at her eye.
Nuna, that's not Oma.
Haesun's blood turned to ice. Whatever was standing outside their door was wearing their mother's clothes, and it was smiling, with a mouth that had far too many teeth.
Dalsu, the back window. Now.
The thing outside stopped pretending. The door shook once, twice. The third time, the wooden bar snapped like a bone. The door exploded inward, and what came through was no longer bothering with the shape of a mother. It was enormous, orange and black stripes rippling over muscle, teeth like broken porcelain. And it moved with a speed that should not have been possible for something that size. I can smell your mother's milk on your skin. You will taste just like her. Haesun shoved Dalsu through the back window, the paper tearing like a scream, and threw herself after him into the darkness. They ran. Barefoot on frozen ground, nightclothes catching on thorns, Haesun dragging Dalsu by the wrist. Behind them, the sound of something enormous crashing through underbrush. Not running, loping, taking its time.
Nuna, I can't. My feet.
Don't stop. Don't look back. Whatever you do, do not look back.
The forest was a maze of shadows. Every tree looked the same. Every path led deeper into darkness. And behind them, the crashing sound grew closer. Not because the tiger was speeding up, but because they were slowing down. Then Haesun saw it. An ancient Korean red pine, its trunk twisted by centuries of wind, its branches reaching into the sky like gnarled fingers. The trunk was wide enough to climb. The lowest branch was just within reach if she boosted Dalsu first.
The tree. Climb.
I can't reach.
Stand on my shoulders. Now.
She lifted him. Her arms screamed. He grabbed the branch, pulled himself up. She jumped, caught it, hauled herself after him. They climbed. Higher, higher, until the ground below was a dark pool. It was the only direction left. Up. The tiger arrived at the base of the tree. It sat. It looked up at them with those yellow eyes, and it smiled. Not a snarl. A smile. The way a cat smiles at a bird on a branch. Clever children. Your mother was not so clever. Come down. I promise it will be quick. Dalsu buried his face in Haesun's shoulder. Haesun said nothing. She held the branch so tightly her knuckles went white and stared down at the thing that wore their mother's blood on its teeth. She refused to blink. The tiger circled the tree. It tried to climb, claws digging into bark, massive body heaving upward. But the trunk was too smooth, too wide. It slid back down each time, leaving deep gouges in the wood. How did you climb up there? Tell me, children. Perhaps I can help. I'll catch the little one when he falls asleep. It was testing them, watching their faces, listening for the crack in their courage. Korean tigers do not simply ambush. They negotiate, they manipulate, they find the weakness, and they press. Haesun's mind raced. Then she remembered her mother's stories about outsmarting tigers, not with strength, with wit.
We rubbed sesame oil on the trunk. It makes the bark sticky. That's how we climbed.
The tiger paused. It considered this. Then it found the small jar of sesame oil by the well, part of their mother's kitchen supplies, and rubbed it along the trunk. It tried to climb again, and this time it slid down even faster, the oil making the bark slick as ice. The tiger hit the ground with a thud that shook the roots. It worked. The lie worked. But children are children. The tiger tried once more, slipping again, crashing into the dirt with a frustrated snarl. And Dalsu, poor, scared, exhausted Dalsu, did the one thing a child should never do when being hunted. He laughed. A small, terrified, involuntary laugh of relief. The tiger looked up, not at the branch, at the well beside the tree. The well filled with still, black water. And in that water, it saw two small reflections, clear as a painting, showing exactly which branch they sat on. There you are. It found the axe by the woodpile, and it began to chop. Chunk, chunk, chunk. Each swing sent splinters flying into the moonlight. The ancient pine groaned, not like a tree falling, but like a living thing in pain. With every stroke, the branch they sat on trembled more violently. Sap ran down the trunk like blood.
Nuna, the tree is going to fall.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes and pray.
Pray to who?
To heaven. To whoever is listening. Pray that they send us a rope.
And Dalsu, 9 years old, barefoot, shaking, sitting on a dying tree with a tiger below and nothing above but the cold Korean sky, closed his eyes, and he prayed with everything he had. And something answered. The sky cracked open, not with thunder, but with light. A single golden rope descended from the heavens, shimmering like liquid sunrise, dropping straight down through the branches to where the children sat. It was warm to the touch. It hummed faintly, as if it were alive. Haesun stared at it. Dalsu stared at it. Below, the tiger stopped chopping and looked up with an expression that for the first time was not hunger. It was fear. Grab it. Don't let go. Don't look down. Dalsu grabbed the rope first. It held him as if he weighed nothing. He climbed, hand over hand, feet bracing against golden light, rising into the sky as easily as climbing a staircase. Haesun followed, her bleeding palms gripping the warm surface, her body lifting away from the tree, away from the tiger, away from the earth. Below her, the world grew smaller. The tree, the cottage, the mountain. The creature that had eaten her mother became a small, orange shape far below, pacing, snarling, looking up at two children ascending into the stars. The tiger watched them rise, and for the first time in its ancient life, it did something it had never done before. It looked up at the sky and prayed. "Heaven, send me a rope too. I am hungry. I deserve to eat." And heaven, which sees all, which judges all, answered. A rope descended for the tiger. It was not golden. It was grey, frayed, old. It smelled of rot and rain. But the tiger did not notice. It did not care. It grabbed the rope with both paws and began to climb. Faster than the children, stronger, its massive body hauling upward with savage force. This time, heaven was listening too. And heaven has a sense of justice that looks very much like cruelty. The tiger was halfway to the sky when it happened. A sound like a bowstring breaking. Snap. The rotten rope split apart in its claws. For one suspended moment, the tiger hung in empty air, its yellow eyes wide, its mouth open, its massive body weightless. Then gravity remembered it existed. It fell, through clouds, through moonlight, through the cold Korean night. It did not land on the mountain. It did not land on rocks. It fell into a field of millet, susubal, and the stalks turned red from its blood. Some say that is why Korean millet has reddish stems to this day. The golden rope pulled the children higher, past the clouds, past the stars, into a place where the air tasted like light, and the silence was not frightening, but warm. Heaven looked at these two orphans, barefoot, shaking, still holding hands, and made them an offer that was not really an offer. Haesun, the older sister, who had never stopped fighting, who had shielded her brother with her body and her wit, she was given the sun. She would burn so brightly that no darkness could ever reach her again. Every dawn, she would rise. Every dusk, she would rest. Too bright for anything to touch her. Too high for any tiger to climb. And Dalsu, the younger brother, who had been afraid of the dark his entire short life, he was given the moon. He would glow gently through every night, a soft lantern for travelers, a companion for the lonely, a light for children who were afraid to sleep. He would never be alone in the dark again, because he was the dark's only light. But here is the part of the story that breaks me. Haesun, fierce, brave, unbreakable Haesun, was afraid too. Not of tigers, not of death, of the dark. She did not want to be the moon. She did not want to spend every night alone in the sky, watching the darkness below where her mother had been taken.
I want to be the sun. Please. I don't want to see the night.
And so they switched.
Haesun became the sun, burning away the darkness she feared. Dalsu became the moon, conquering the darkness he feared. Neither of them ever came back down. And that is why, in Korean folklore, the sun feels warm and fierce, like an older sister protecting you from the cold. And the moon feels gentle and soft, like a younger brother who finally found the courage to face what frightened him. And if you look carefully at the mountains of Korea on a night when the moon is full, you might see a shape in the shadows below, orange and black, pacing between the pine trees, looking up at the sky with yellow eyes, still hungry, still patient, still looking for them.
So when you hear a knock at your door late at night,
3 times, always 3, and a voice that sounds like someone you love says, "Open the door." Remember this story. Remember that the Korean tiger does not roar. It speaks. It pleads. It sounds exactly like someone you trust. And by the time you realize the difference, the door is already open. If you enjoyed this video, come visit my channel for more. I'll be back with an even better story. See you next time.